welcome back. Welcome back to my videos. Welcome back to recording. I am so happy to be back. I had finals week, if you didn't know. So that was content kind of went to a screeching halt. Wasn't posting twice a day or once a day. But we're in winter break season. I expect a lot of content. We'll expect a lot of videos. To start off, we're going to start talking about all these coaching hires because obviously over finals week, of course there has to be a bunch of news that comes out. And I'm going to run through like some of the biggest hires that I feel. I got a list of them right in front of me on my laptop. And we're going to just go through and grade each one, kind of do a grading system. I think an A+ is perfect fit, national title contention immediately. Where B, you'll see throughout the video, but like B is like a good hire, has potential, but like I have doubts. And then C, I think a D is a bad hire. I'm not gonna say F because I'm not gonna completely say that it's gonna fail. The only F hire I've ever seen might have been Houston Texans coach with David Culley. And that was an obvious F hire. I mean, you hire a wide receiver coach for a non-passing offense in the NFL. Don't get me started. But the first one we're going to talk about is Mario Cristobal going to the University of Miami. And what I think about this hire, I think it's a huge loss for Oregon. I might make an update video on TikTok or something like that, or a short video here when Oregon gets their head coach, because they haven't landed a head coach yet. But because Oregon could get a guy like Chip Kelly, there's a lot of rumors with who they could get. And obviously it was Mario Cristobal taking in for Manny Diaz. There was rumors leading up to it. The way they've treated Manny Diaz, first of all, was terrible. I gotta get that out of the way. They did not fire Manny Diaz until very last minute. And obviously if you're gonna move on with him, you gotta kind of do it respectfully. But I think the way that the University of Miami wants to go is they want to take the swagger that they had back in the 2000s, back in the 80s. They want to have that, but the truth is they had that swagger because they were gritty. They were one of the toughest teams. They were one of the most physical teams. I mean, if you look at their past, you had Sean Taylor, you had I can't think of their linebackers or their defensive linemen right now, which is blowing my mind because I know exactly who I'm thinking of. I just can't think of it. Like, go look at their previous. They had a great offense, but their defense is what was specifically in the '80s so dominant, so ridiculous. Warren Sapp. There we go. I couldn't think. And what Mario Cristobal is gonna do good or really solid is make sure they are really good in the trenches. He's gonna have guys on the offensive line, he's gonna have guys on the defensive line, and I don't know how that's gonna track in the ACC, but if with how those offenses are leading towards, I think, geez, yawning a bunch today. Mario Cristobal will get that offensive line shaped up. I'll be interested to see where he takes that program because I've always felt that Miami doesn't really have an identity right now. I mean, they got the turnover chain, but that's really it's all gimmick stuff. I think he's going to get the University of Miami down to the roots. He was a former player there, if you didn't know. And he's a really good recruiter, too. He's a fantastic recruiter. And a Florida State, not Florida State University, but the state of Florida is wide open right now. And I think Miami could easily jump on that. That's why I'm going to give it an A higher. I don't want to give it an A+ because I don't think it's guaranteed to work, because there's also, as good as he is recruiting and developing, he wasn't able to really maximize the talent that was given at Oregon. Yes, they beat Ohio State, but they also kind of faltered towards the end of the year. I don't know if that's because he was just distracted, but doesn't mean he's guaranteed to win the ACC. Next up, we have Brent Venables. He was a recent hire for the late departured Lincoln Riley. He's the guy that's to go in and fill Lincoln Riley's shoes. And Brent Venables has been a guy that a lot of people have been trying to go away from Clemson. Clemson would pay ridiculous amounts to make sure that he was staying, and ridiculous amounts to make sure that any assistant coach was staying. But it was a match made in heaven. I mean, Brent Venables, former player at Oklahoma, he has so many ties with anything that comes with Oklahoma. He was on Bob Stoops' staff from 1999 to 2011. That's a long time. He is Oklahoma, and that's why I personally give this an A grade. I know I'm giving the grade a little early, but I'll explain it. I think Brent Venables is going to come in and dominate the defensive side of the ball for Oklahoma, which has been the weak point for Oklahoma. But they're going to the SEC. And you need a guy that's going to come in and make sure that defense can handle anything that they get hit with in the SEC. You can have a great offense in the SEC, but if you don't have a great defense, you're not going to win games consistently enough. You're not going to have consistently New Year's Six bowl bids or playoff bids. You need to at least have a defense that can handle some of the firepower that is in the SEC, because the SEC has gone from the run in the I formation to now they're going to throw the ball 60 times, and a defense has to have speed and handle it. The SEC is speed right now, and at the same time, they have a good enough defense to handle other conferences. And I think Brent Venables is the perfect fit. It'll be interesting to see how he does recruiting-wise. He's already recruited some really good players. There's a quarterback that decommitted from Florida and immediately got a Cristobal to Oklahoma. Oklahoma obviously lost their entire 2023 and most of their 2022 recruiting class, so it might take a couple years, but I still think Oklahoma's going to be fine. I'm a huge believer in Caleb Williams. If he could just get a really, really good offensive coordinator, which I think he did hire a really good one, I can't remember, that's huge. Let him run the offense and then let Brent Venables go off on that defense. Clemson was known for having the Trevor Lawrence, the Deshaun Watson, all the firepower on the offense, but their defense, you gotta remember, I think they had 4 first-rounders on the defensive line. Some great corners came out. Even a corner recently. I remember Trayvon Mullen. There was AJ Terrell. AJ Terrell is either from Ohio State or Clemson. I'm gonna look like an idiot. I got a lot of coaches to get through, but a hire, I think that is a great hire. There's some, honestly, all these hires have been really solid. Next one, we got Notre Dame, and I have some reservations with Notre Dame just solely because I am not a huge believer in a no conference. They need to get in a conference. It's been too long without a conference. The one year that they went in a conference, they won, and they made the playoff. That should tell you, get in the damn conference already. And they go get Marcus Freeman to stay with Notre Dame after Brian Kelly dips out and just ghosts the entire Notre Dame organization to go to LSU. And we'll get to that hire in a minute. And I love Marcus Freeman. I'm curious. He's going to be a great recruiter because he's going to resonate with these kids. I am curious to say, I think it's going to be a B hire. B to B plus. But I think it's B hire. I think the potential is through the roof. He's a young guy. He could be there for a long time. But you gotta think it's his first coaching job. Some guys are better coordinators than they are head coaches. That's the truth of it. And we don't know if he's a good head coach. Like, I know Mario Cristobal is a good head coach. Brent Venables, he could. I just said it was an A hire. I was teetering between B plus because at the same time, he could just be a better defense coordinator than he is as a head coach. But at the same time, he's been a coordinator and on staffs for a longer amount of time. Marcus Freeman's a young guy. So at least Venables has the experience and more knowledge to be prepared for a head coaching position. And we'll see. Marcus Freeman's a great defensive coordinator. Like, if he had gone to LSU, that would have been huge when it comes to recruiting and things of that nature. But he stayed with Notre Dame. Notre Dame players love him. I think this could end up being one of the best hires out of everybody. But I'm staying at a B. I think the potential's through the roof. But I don't think anybody else should have been the head coach for Notre Dame. If Freeman would have left, then things would have gone really, really scary for a Notre Dame program that has had some really good recruits commit recently. And they're in a lot of races right now. And I think Marcus Freeman is a perfect fit for Notre Dame to potentially change the culture and go to a conference, man. Come on now. Do better, Notre Dame. I need you to get to a conference. LSU, Brian Kelly. I'm going to just say my grade and get out of the way. I think it's a B minus higher. I think the potential is through the roof. It's Brian Kelly. He's won 5 straight 10-win seasons. LSU has money out of the wazoo. They offered Jimbo Fisher a ridiculous contract. I fully believe that this could be a good hire. But there's something telling me it's just a weird fit. He has the resources to do great. He has the connections to be great. LSU has always recruited really well. You have Louisiana. You're in a conference. But I need to see if is he going to come in and make a culture-changing decision? What's his offense going to look like in the SEC? What's his defense going to look like? I think his defense is going to be solid. Is he going to fit well with these players? Is he going to resonate with the fans? Does he fit well with the university? All these things matter. And it's a weird hire, but LSU needed to make a splash. And so I wanted to say B-, but I'm saying C+ because I feel iffy on the hire. It was a weird hire, and a lot of people say, and yes, he's a good coach. He's one of the most winningest head coaches that is out there right now. But does LSU have the patience to let Brian Kelly come in and develop a culture and change things? Has Brian Kelly changed from a hothead? We'll see. It looks like so. Like, it looks like he has changed. But I'm not as high on this hire as, geez, a lot of H words, as other people. And I'll be interested to see how quickly could he find success and how patient LSU is. Because LSU is not a patient school. You better win, and you better win fast. And one of the few hires, I got a couple left. I think I'm going to do 2 more. We're going to talk about the USC job. We got to talk about the USC job. Lincoln Riley, A+ hire. I got to say it. It's an A+ hire. Now, I think Lincoln, the way he went about it was a little snaky, a little bit of a snake, but there's no way around it. You're talking about a guy that has been to the playoffs so many times. You're talking about a guy that could make an elite offense in a conference that promotes offense, that is known for having incredible offenses and not insane defenses, which sounds like every Oklahoma team that Lincoln Riley has coached. You're looking at a recruiting base that is just insanity. I mean, you look at the commits that he's already gotten. I think he could come in first year and have a 9 to 10 win season. I don't think they'll be in the playoff because he doesn't have his guys in. But I think Lincoln Riley's about to hit a home run. There's no way. If he fails, it will be one of the biggest stories of all time. It's like if Quinn Ewers flails out at Texas. Like, it's too much of a layup. And it'll define Lincoln Riley's career if he fails at USC. Because if he fails at USC, I don't think USC could ever be back. And the expectations are through the roof, and they should be, because he has set them for himself. He was scared to go to the SEC. He was scared to go to LSU because his life would be easier at USC. And I don't blame him for that. If I don't want to add stress to my life, LSU would have given him 2 years and kicked him to the road. At least USC, I guarantee you, will give him 2 years, and by that 3rd year, if he doesn't make a playoff, seat will get warm. And a little bit warmer and a little bit warmer. But at LSU, if he didn't win a SEC championship in his 2nd year, they would have kicked him to the road. I'm telling you, LSU is one of the most patient schools I've ever seen. But next up, we got to talk about Florida. By the way, that was an A+ hire. Florida made a C- hire. I am not a big Billy Napier fan. I understand wanting to bring in your guys, but Florida's not in a position to push away talent right now. They're just not in a position to do that. Oh my god, dropping the microphone on my first video back. I'm just not a fan of the hire. I think culturally, Florida needed a guy to come in and change a lot of the problems with the structure of the school. And Dan Mullen made some boneheaded decisions, and a lot of fans are not a fan of Dan Mullen, but I just don't see Billy Napier being the guy. I understand he did a fantastic job at not at Louisiana, and I understand wanting to bring in your guys and looking at film and telling recruits that you're unworthy to get an offer. But Florida's not recruiting well right now, and they need to recruit better fast, because I think Billy Napier's going to need some talent ASAP. And I just don't know what Billy Napier's special at. And it's just something that's telling me this is not a great hire. I'm not a fan of this hire at all. So I'm giving it a C-, and that's going to be the video. I know there was not a lot of analytics with that one, but the more I read about it, the more I hear people talk about that hire, the less I'm interested, the less I care about that hire. I think the second place in the SEC East is wide open. That might be a video in of itself, because there's a lot of SEC East teams that are coming up and really could be good. I mean, we're talking Missouri, we're talking Kentucky, we're talking Tennessee. All could take that second spot right behind Georgia. But if you like the video, please like and subscribe. I know this is a longer video, but I just wanted to get more content out there, and you're about to get a lot of content. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.